So I always treat what lies beneath, because when you do that, you fix someone forever. Forgive yourself, fall in love with yourself. Don't think, well, when I have love, I'll be happy. And then, well, I need a baby now. I need something else. And so many addictions, in fact, almost all of them are run by not enough.
Talk to me about RTT. Break that down for me and how people can use it for themselves.
Yeah, so when I became a therapist, I've always challenged other people's beliefs, and I just didn't understand how therapy should be so long. I looked at other treatments, thought no one said to the dentist, hey, my tooth aches, can I discuss it for a year? I seem to have cracked my knee, I'm in terrible pain. Could I come and discuss that for a whole year? So I always wanted to find a technique which could dismantle pain, not just physical pain, the emotional pain, because that's pain too, the mental pain, the pain of having something like anxiety or panic attacks or depression. And I realized that I could do that very fast if I tread what lies beneath. And therapy isn't wrong, but I looked at it and thought, how could I simplify this? Because what people want is to get out of pain fast. So I thought, how could I get people out of pain fast? But it also has to be permanent. And I tell all my grads, there's only 3 things wrong with everyone in the world. I mean, once you're not going through hunger and poverty in a modern place like America, like England, like France, like Sweden, when you're not starving and you have shelter, there's only 3 things wrong with anyone, including you and me. The first one is, I'm not enough. And if I'm not enough, I can't get enough. I need more praise, more something. And so many addictions, in fact, almost all of them are run by not enough. The second thing wrong with people is, I'm different, so I can't connect. See, when we lived in a tribe, we never felt different. So, oh, that's my great aunt, that's my cousin, we look the same. We didn't have that difference. But we've also known that the runt of the litter or the albino always suffered because they were different. And now we live in multicultural worlds, so it's very easy to think, no, I feel different, I'm not the same. But the truth is, if your greatest fear is to be different, and that's everyone's greatest fear, what does that mean? It means you're the same. You're the same as everyone. And so many children need to be told, you're the same, you're unique, but you're the same as nobody is better than you. You're the same. And then the third thing is a very interesting one, which is I want something and I'm going to pursue it, but I know it's not available. I want love. My dad left where I was born, so I'm unlovable. I want health, but my whole family have got the depressed gene or the alcoholic gene. I want money, but I never went to college and no one in my family has money. My dad's gone bankrupt 3 times. So it's like running with someone holding a big elastic band around you. It's not available. And so when you can fix those 3 things, you are the same and therefore you can connect. You are enough, and what you want wants you and is available to you. You actually fix every single problem people have. Everything is fixed by identifying and fixing those 3 things. And that's one of the cores of RTT, is that let's shortcut, let's fix what lies beneath. There's only those 3 things. Let's give you the power to feel good about yourself, to think about what do you need to hear. Well, put those words into yourself. Forgive yourself, fall in love with yourself. Don't think, well, when I have love, I'll be happy. And then, well, I need a baby now. I need something else. Because our potential expands as we move towards it. So nobody can know what their potential is. But you have to keep going into expansion yourself. And when you move your mind to new dimensions, it never moves back. But it goes back again. You have to do it yourself. You can't give someone else the agency to make you feel good about you.
I love that. Where does role, function, and purpose fit into RTT? How can we use that?
Role, function, and purpose is actually, even with tiny children, it's really talking about what is the role of this illness. You've had it for years. It doesn't appear to want to go away. It keeps coming back. Obviously, there's some reason why it's there. Every time I had to go to my dad's for the weekend, I didn't like him. I got these terrible migraines until I couldn't go. My parents expected me to be so good at exams, and then I got these terrible panic attacks, couldn't go to school anymore. No one expected me to pass the exam. So now they're beginning to see that their issue had a role and a function and an intention, it had a job. And you go, okay, so we had a girl who had such bad migraines that began when her father began to tell her her job was to take over the family law firm. She said, I don't want to be a lawyer. Well, you must be. I paid for your education. You're my only child. If I had a son, he would have done it. Oh, now I've got to be a lawyer. But when she started to get chronic migraines, but you'd be lucky if you'd be a waitress. You couldn't possibly be a lawyer. It's like, oh, got out of that. And even tiny children. I worked with this little boy who had contact dermatitis everywhere. Well, every night I stand like that and Mummy puts bandages, cream and wet bandages on my body, and while she's putting them on, it takes so long, she doesn't put any cream on that baby. So now you unpick that. He doesn't want to put cream on the baby, he wanted to put cream on him. It doesn't take a genius to work out that at some stage he said, Mummy, can I have a massage? No, it's just for the baby. Mummy, can you put cream in? No, you're grown up. And he thought a thought. I want Mummy to put cream on me. And here's the thing. Your mind is the genie. Your wish is its command. I want Mummy to put cream on me. The genie's like, I do that. Now you've got dermatitis. Mummy's putting lots of cream on you. Maybe you've got psoriasis. And the genie doesn't think, shall I find a good way, a logic? It just finds a way. But then you just have to talk to the genie better, and it will find a better way.
Yeah, God, I love the way you think. I love the way you break it down. In just me researching you, so this is the second time that we've done an interview together. Well, third time really, because you interviewed me. Yeah, I did. And in diving deep into you this time, as I was listening to you talking about these different things, I had a realization. I'm like, I've been in this space for years, and I only had a realization because you breaking it down like that. I started to really think about myself, and I was just reflecting, okay, what does this mean? I used to get bullied for my looks when I was a teenager. And so I've definitely attached worthiness to looks. But it never occurred to me until I was hearing you talk about really young kids. When I was really young, I was so freaking cute. And and people used to say, you get away with murder. Yeah. You want to talk about words? Growing up, literally from the age of like 3 to the age of like probably 6, I was told every day, you're so cute, you're gonna get away with murder, you're so cheeky, I could do naughty things. And my mom, she's so cheeky. And then at the age of 6, I started to change. I then hit puberty. I started getting the frizzy hair. I started getting the moustache. I started getting the unibrow, and everything went away. And not only was I not getting any attention, I was getting the opposite. Yeah. And so as I was hearing you talking and breaking things down from how things go from even just like a real young child to your teenage years to your adult years, I've carried that with me in the attachment of your looks were then equate to worth, and if you don't have the looks, then you're not worthy. And it wasn't until the last, let's say 5 years that I've done my own mental work and everything that you're saying to change that. But it never dawned on me that I had the 2 flips from the kid to the teenage years.
Yeah, you've got to be very careful what you say around children. It's like people say, you're so lovely, I could eat you. What a weird thing for a parent to say. Oh yeah, your kid is great. Yeah, come at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can have him. We say really strange things in front of our kids, and it really freaks them out. They just, I nearly died having you. It killed me. You've got to be so careful because so many of us don't understand that before 5, there's no logic, just feeling. A child doesn't have logic. So when Dad says, well, I still love you, but I'm leaving Mummy, they hear, I don't love you. You've got to be so careful. They're so easily rejected. Why can't you draw inside the lines like your brother? Your sister didn't get food all over the floor. And then you get teachers going, oh, I had your sister. The brains ran out when they got to you. And children hear so many wounding things. We can't make it perfect. Sure. But you have to, as a parent, say to your kid, look, you're special just the way you are. You don't have to be good at maths, or don't compare yourself to other people, just be you. And as an adult then, you think it's important to go that far back to the 5-year-old self?
Because I hear a lot now people are talking about the inner child.
Oh yeah, beyond that, you can go back to, you know, I've worked with so many people with unexplained infertility, which is a fascinating label because it means it's unexplainable. Your ovaries are great, your womb's great, your husband's sperm is like military grade sperm, swims straight, there's tons of it. So your infertility is unexplained. But then people would come in and we'd always go back to the genie and the wish, and they'd often say things like, yeah, it's so bizarre. I can remember my mother carrying me on her hip and say, oh, it was awful, I nearly died, I bled for 3 days, I was in act, never again. Or my mother would say later, oh yes, Lena, that you ruined my body. I was in agony after I had you. I cried for 5 days. I got postnatal depression. And a child thinks, oh, I don't want to go through that. And so many times when we're babies, we're sponges. Babies pick up everything. They're pure sensation. They pick up the tone of your voice. They pick up the look on your face. And I was doing a group session once, and this very successful city guy started to sob and sob and sob. And he said, every time my dad changed my diaper, he'd make a face. He'd go, oh, this is disgusting. He said, and I really felt he didn't love me. I always felt disconnected. I just worked with somebody recently for my book who said that when her mum was pregnant with a second baby, her father put a gate up so she couldn't get out of her bedroom and come and get into bed with her mother, which she always did. And he said, no, you can't go in Mummy's arms. He thought she would dislodge the new baby. And he was very concerned that she must get used to not being in Mum's arms. And then suddenly the new baby's come and she's behind this stair gate she can't get. And she said, I've always felt this anger towards my dad, and I never knew why. He's a lovely guy, but I've been so angry with him. I started to really act out as a teenager to punish him, and I never knew. It's because when I was 2, I couldn't express the rage. I just knew it was his fault. He got between me and my mum, and I internalized it. It's really interesting how you can really go back to being tiny, which shouldn't be surprising because before 5, you are pure feeling. All you can do is feel. But don't feel that. Don't get angry. Don't cry. I'll smack you if you cry. I'll punish you if you're angry. Then we think, oh, what can I do with these feelings? So we just have to internalize them.
That's so fascinating, especially because we started talking about the feelings that come from the words that you use in your head, but thinking about being a kid and not even having words to use, so your feelings are being attached to words that other people are saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's
honestly,
so
I'd be
confusing.
petrified to have children. Oh my God, using this word's going to mess them up. Obviously, that's not a reason to not have kids.
All you have to do with kids is own it and go, darling, I messed up today. They know life isn't perfect. It's not about that. It's about you owning your mistakes and saying, you know, you're allowed to make a mess. You're allowed to break stuff. You're allowed to be age appropriate. You know, you're running in the park, I shout, stop. You wouldn't expect your puppy to stop until the 3rd time. And so why would you expect your kid to stop? They do age appropriate. They get food on the floor. They mess up. And it's really about forgiving them, forgiving yourself, but always saying that was my fault. I messed up today. You deserve better. And then they're completely okay.
Because you're teaching them that it's okay to mess up.
Yeah, it's okay they can mess up, which then means that you can mess up. Check out my next video here.